What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel, and as always, thank y'all very much for tuning in. Really appreciate each and every one of you. It's your boy Matty B, and today we're going to come at you with a preview for Anaheim 2 for Round 2 of AMA Supercross and Round 2 of the Super Motocross World Championship. And if you guys have been following along, you guys have known that the contract was supposed to include Anaheim 1, San Diego, and Anaheim 2 for me, the first 3 rounds of Supercross. But we're having a little bit, and by a little bit, I mean a massive snow emergency national back at the homestead, so kind of had to make a last-second change in the contract, and I actually head home today. Not exactly the ideal situation, but I had some prior engagements for the Arena Cross TV with Daniel Blair for GT Arena Cross. We have a deadline coming soon. Didn't exactly plan for the biggest snowstorm in 6 or 9 years. Actually multiply that by like 2. But I had no idea it was going to be this bad. I don't even know if I would be able to get home the day I was supposed to go home, which is this Sunday. The storm might have had me stuck like Chuck at the airport, and I think if I even did get home, the storm would have had me stuck like Chuck at my house. So with all that being said, I got to head back early to make sure I get all that done. It's a massive bummer for me to miss Anaheim 2. I really wish I wasn't, but it's literally a no-choice situation. I'm sorry I won't get to bring you guys some content from this weekend, but don't worry, I'll be at more rounds, and you guys know the deal. We'll get there when it's time. But for today's video, we're going to keep it a little bit shorter since I'm flying home today. We're just going to run through a few storylines heading into this weekend for Anaheim 2. Then we'll do our track preview and our predictions for this weekend. But before we do all that, got to give a huge thank you and a shout out to my channel sponsors, because even though the trip's getting cut short, it's none of their faults, and they're the ones that made this trip possible, so please go check them out. Huge thank you to ASV Inventions, home of the Unbreakable Lever, Sirius Studios, got you covered on all your merch needs, and the DesignLabCo.com. They got some awesome designs in their lab at their co, and if you need graphics, look no further. And can't forget about my newest supporter, Simplify, which is an automatic booking and payment system for solo entrepreneurs that can make your business run much better and much more efficient. I have links and discount codes and all that fun stuff in my video description. If you guys buy from them, a small portion of the sale goes to me to help keep the channel going and help get us to the races we're going to. So if you're supporting them, you are quite literally supporting me. And last thing, myself and Daniel Blair are calling the action for GT Arena Cross this year on Fox Sports 1 and Fox Sports 2. Here are the airing dates. Please do me a favor and tune in. Not only will it help me keep my job, but I really think you'll be very entertained, and I hope you guys enjoy today's video. Alright, usually we got like 6 or 9 midweek topics, but for this week, we're just going to get into some A2 storylines, and then we'll do our track preview and our predictions. But to start off with some things to think about and talk about going into the weekend, my main concern in the 450 class is, can Eli Tomac keep on dominating? And if anybody stops him, who the hell could it be? It's been pretty sick seeing Eli Tomac firing on all cylinders back in 2026 on the KTM. He's looked as good as ever. I feel like beast mode's back, and despite the early season racing being a little bit weird and unpredictable, that's not what it's looked like for Tomac. He's looked like the whole package. He's been good in every qualifying session. I really haven't seen any big mistakes or any holes in his game just yet. He's been good at pretty much everything. And even though the old dog just keeps on getting older, it's not slowing him down, and I feel like all these guys already have been served notice that they got to go through Eli Tomac if they want this 2026 Supercross Championship, barring a disaster, of course. But Tomac's game has looked nearly flawless. He's off to a 1-1 start. What more could you really ask for? Not a damn thing, but as far as his challengers go, we've had Ken Roczen right there with his early season explosiveness. I thought he was going to get it done in San Diego, but he lost a little bit of steam late. Eli Tomac got the win done again. And we can't forget about the other guy that passed him late in the moto. Hunter Lawrence has looked better than ever in 450 Supercross. He's the only factory Honda guy right now, and he's holding it down while Jet's out. He doesn't have a win in Supercross on a 450 yet, but if he keeps on riding like that, I feel like it's definitely going to be in his contract sooner rather than later. And he started out the season with a 4 and a 2. He's right there in the points. Then we have Chase Sexton on the new Kawasaki. He still has the speed as always, but unfortunately he's also still making those mental errors that we've unfortunately come to know him for. I think San Diego was his 3rd time hitting the gate in like 3 years. I don't know any other pro that's done that besides maybe Michael Essie. But despite all that, he had an unreal ride in the main event. He was half a second to a second faster than everybody throughout almost the entire main event till the end when he lost a little bit of steam. But sometimes losing steam happens when you got to pass 18 guys in about 8 minutes. If Sexton can eliminate the mistakes, then you know he's going to be a massive factor in this weekend's race for the win and for the championship. And what about Cooper Webb? He's off to a slow start. It's not exactly something we've never seen before, but I do think it's the slowest start that we've ever seen out of him. Not exactly an ideal situation for Webb while one of his rivals, Eli Tomac, starts off with a 1-1. He's already put himself in a big hole, but if anybody can dig himself out of it, it's Cooper Webb when they head back east. And what about the wild card, Jorge Prado? He's been absolutely amazing in everything that's happened in Supercross this year besides the main event in San Diego. But he got a bad start. Jorge's not used to getting bad starts like in any form of racing, so when he gets a bad start, we might see George rather than Jorge, but everything else has been unbelievably impressive. He did like the most technical line I've ever seen in the whoops at San Diego. Crushed the heat race. The main just didn't go his way, so as much as I still want to be on the fence with Jorge Prado and whether he's for real in AMA Supercross because it's still early and we've already seen a lot of crazy crazy stuff. I will confidently say the dude's legit. I can't say he's going to be up there every single weekend, but I'll definitely say that I don't think we're done seeing him run up front. And I could go on and on, but like I said, it's still early, and you can't count out the rest of these guys like Justin Cooper, Aaron Plessinger, Team Fry, Jason Anderson, even Joey Savacci with a top 5 last weekend. This would be a 6 or 9 business day segment if I went on and talked about every single person, but those are the main things I'm looking at and main questions I'm wanting answered heading into the 450 class this weekend. I know it's going to be a good one. Man, I wish I was going to be there. Then in the 250 class, we're all going to be looking forward to that Hayden Deegan versus Max Anstie Star Yamaha rematch. Who do you guys think is going to take control of this thing? Anstie dominated the opener, but Deegan got the best of him at round 2 in both the results column and the takedown column. I heard there was a team meeting at Star Racing during the week about how they didn't want the guys to take each other out and play games with each other because there's a lot of other guys that got to race. Well, clearly that's off the table. That's not happening. And in terms of Hayden Deegan versus Max Anstie, it's on. Then there's Levi Kitchen, arguably the fastest guy so far in the raw speed department throughout the season for the first couple of rounds. He's been fastest in 3 out of the 4 qualifying sessions, but the dude just cannot get off the gate. Bad starts in the heat race and the main at Anaheim 1, a bad start in the heat race in San Diego, and then he had a good start in the main event in San Diego, but he threw it away in the first corner. Mechanic only had to wash the rear of the bike because the front was washed, but he's had 2 very good comeback rides, so if he can get out front early, that could be the early season turnaround that Levi Kitchen's looking for. And same thing with the 450 class. Even in this 250 West class, it's still early and anything can happen. You definitely can't count out Balls Out Cameron McAdoo, Chance Hymas, Ryder D will race him when it's time, Michael Moseman, Handbrake Voland, or Hunter Yoder. How about the Club MX guys dominating Heat 1 last weekend? Total legendary ride from my guys. Now let's get into our track preview for round 3 at Anaheim 2, and at first glance, I am digging the looks of this track. It looks super technical. We got a whoop section leading into a rhythm section, so that'll make the whoop section extra important. We got a very unique option section. We got what looks like quite the technical sand section and everything in between, so let's get into it. Got the start right down the middle, a very short start straight this week into a left-handed sweeping corner, and with that short start straight, that doesn't give the guys very much room to separate before they head into turn 1, so hopefully we don't see any locked bar nationals or pile-ups, but when the start straight's a little bit shorter, that's typically a little bit more likely than not in that situation. But the first corner, a sweeping left into the first rhythm section on the track. Off the start, it's looking like it's going to be a basic double, then triple if you're up front. If you're in the back, you're just going to be fighting for survival and maybe doubling through. But out of that rhythm section, you get your first 180 bowl corner to the right into your second rhythm section on the track. This is going to be the longest and most technical rhythm section on this layout, but out of the corner, I'm thinking the fast line is going to be to triple onto the tabletop, then step off, triple again, triple one more time, and then double out. Depending on how they build it, maybe if your balls are massive or if they're out of your pants like McAdoo's, you could go quad in over the tabletop and then triple again, and then triple one more time out. But doing that line, you'd have to hit a couple of the big faces rather than the small ones, so I don't even know if that would be a good option or not. But out of that rhythm section, then you got a 90-degree corner to the right, then you're into the whoops, and with the whoops coming out of that 90, it's going to be a little bit more difficult than normal to get a good drive out of there rather than coming out of a 180 bowl corner that you can rail like they had in San Diego. But I love when they do this. We got the whoops into a rhythm section. Ideally, I think it'll be a triple single, but depending on how good of a run through the whoops you can get, maybe even a double double or a double triple. But having a technical section like this right after the whoops really makes a good run through the whoops that much more important, because if you mess up the whoops, it messes you up for the section after it as well. But then you got another 180 bowl corner to the right, and then you got your first Supercross triple on the track, then a small pop double into a 180 bowl corner to the left, then you got your finish line double yacht, land that, and you got a little bit of a single into an option corner section. Very unique, not something you usually see on a Supercross track, but you can either go inside, hit a little step up, and then skip the first rhythm jump, or go around the outside with the Trailer Park Girls, rail the outside, and then you got an extra face at the beginning of the rhythm. But if you go inside, I think you hit the step up, and then roll in, and go double, and then double again, back across the start straight. But if you go wide, then you'll rail the outside, then I think triple in, then double right before you go back across the start straight. But across the start straight we go for the first of 3 times, a 180 bowl corner to the right, back across the start straight, and then we got our sand section. I know the boys are pissed looking at this layout. None of them like this stuff. Stiff Supercross suspension and beach sand nationals go together like peanut butter and dog crap, but they're the best in the world. They're going to have to get challenged, but it looks like a little triple or maybe just some moguls on the way in, more moguls through the sweeper, and then a sand double on the way out, so that'll be a super technical section. I feel like we may or may not see a lot of the race won and lost right there, and it's definitely a place we're going to see mistakes, so I could see some passing going down there. But then back across the start straight for the final time, a right-handed bowl corner, maybe a 110 or 120 degree corner, One final rhythm section, looks like a pretty basic triple and then a double across the start straight. Although I say basic, with the angle that berm's at, that triple out of the corner might actually be kind of a boost, so maybe a double and then bark across the start straight and single out could also be a viable option, especially for those 250 guys. But then you got one final 180 bull corner to the left. Out of that corner, you got a jump face back across the first corner and into that first rhythm section out of turn 1. And with that jump face, that'll change that first rhythm section dramatically compared to how you did it off the start. So on the regular lap, I think you'll double out of the corner and then go triple, and then maybe single into the corner, or maybe you could bust out a quad god maneuver. I could see it happening. But that's a lap around round 3 for Anaheim 2 Supercross. I feel like this is going to be a good one, a very technical national. And even though I'm not going to be there, and every time I say it I get a little bit more bummed, I think it's going to be a banger this weekend. Now, as we have in these videos for this year for the new edition at the National, let's get into our MX Simulator Sketchier Than Kindergarten Artwork virtual POV preview. Last but not least, the most fun part of the video, my predictions for what I think is going down this weekend for round 3 at AMA Supercross at Anaheim 2. In the 250 class, I'm going to predict a bounce back win for Max Anstie. He had the Anaheim Magic at Anaheim 1. His starts have been on point the entire year, and that's the biggest thing that I think he's got going for him, is he's just been out front every single time the gate drops. So I think Max Anstie takes a commanding win at round 3. Then for second, I'm going to go with Levi Kitchen. I think he finally turns it around in the start department. He had a good start in the San Diego main event, but he threw it away in the first corner. So if he doesn't wash the front end in the first corner and executes the start like he did in the main event at San Diego, then I definitely think Levi Kitchen will be a factor for the win. Then for third place, I'm going to go with Hayden Deegan. My main reasoning for this is he's still struggling a little bit with the starts. I know he just won San Diego, but he was not up front going into the first corner. A couple of guys went down on the inside and he kind of found a hole and squeaked his way through, and that's not something you can exactly count on every single round. So I'm thinking he's going to have to come back through the field, and with this being the second Anaheim in 3 weeks and they had Monster Jam last weekend, I think it's going to be really hard and slippery, and I don't feel like that usually lends itself to Hayden Deegan's riding style. So I've got him rounding out the podium in third place this weekend. Then for the 450 class, man, for the win, I'm going to call a dang hat trick. Eli Tomac, a third win in a row on the KTM. I'm just having a hard time figuring out why I shouldn't pick him for the win. He's had all his bases covered, he's looked like the full package, and he's just been there and done it so many times before. I mean, he's the second winningest Supercross racer of all time. Total legend. Then for second place, I got Chase Sexton on the Kawasaki for his first podium on the new ride. I think he minimizes the mistakes this weekend, and I feel like he gets it together, but his starts have been very inconsistent also, and Tomac's been getting out front pretty much every time, so I think that might be what makes the difference. Then for third place, I'm having a really hard time leaving Ken Roczen off this list, but I'm going to go with Cooper Webb. There's no other way to put it. I know Coop is so pissed about this start to the season, and when Coop gets mad enough, he can almost will himself to a podium at this point. He and the team went back to Tallahassee instead of staying out here in California to go back and get some more testing done. A last-second decision at the National, and I can only imagine that had to be a productive week back home, so I think Webb bounces back. I think he gets a third on the box, and with that, that'll have Chase Sexton and Cooper Webb attempting to claw themselves back into championship contention, because if they don't end up on the podium this weekend, here shortly in terms of the championship, it might be too late. But that's all I got for you guys this week. Really appreciate you guys tuning in. Thank you for watching. And as always, please let me know what you guys thought of the video. If you agree with my takes, if you disagree, if you like the video, if I'm just a cooked unit, or anything in between, you know we're here for all of it. But thanks again for watching. Really appreciate you guys, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. No choice.